Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time! Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Taylor's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Of course, on this game day Friday, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, site of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which is the semifinal matchup between the number 1 Indiana Hoosiers and the number 5 Oregon Ducks to determine the final entry into the national championship. Jim Coyle with you as always. Coach is with us as well, Coach Griff. Coach Griff, welcome in on this Friday. Welcome in everybody else as well. It's been a long week and a long lead up to this point, but we're here. Last night we saw one half of the bracket fill in, Coach, in a very exciting game, and probably what we're going to see a little bit more of tonight, maybe I think, than people realize. With these being just everybody, you're at this level. You're good, man. You're good. And we're good. We're glad to you alone. We're good to be here. Well, and how's everything going for you, Coach?
Good. It was a good game. Yesterday evening, back and forth. If you're a college football fan, you had to love it just from the standpoint of it kept your interest for the entire game. It was a classic battle, and it went down to that whoever had the ball last was going to win it, and that's kind of how it end up being. And Ole Miss had a chance at the end with the throw in the end zone. So it was a great, great game.
Yeah, that it was, and probably expecting more of the same night. So that everyone really that case tonight were confused was to do that as far as the winner. It looked like Ole Miss was going to really for a little bit. Sure would have been my daughter up here, I promise you that. But man, it's going to be a Hurricane getting a home game for the national championship to win a night's matchup in Indiana and Oregon. So it's going to be this championship. No matter what, no matter look at it, of course, things go better. The Indiana Hoosiers going at under 16 and mark to move forward. Man, it is a spectacular football season. I think that we're close to it to an end. That's something that's very disappointing in that regard, because I'm going to say it's a hell of a lot of fun. And now still there, but it's been a good run for this kind of team. It's been a great run of fans. They can bring to
See,
and so
yeah, it was a good, like I said, the game that's with Indiana and Oregon tonight. Like you said, I think it's going to be a similar scenario as it was last night, with two teams that are equally matched. And, it's going to be a game that the margin for error is razor thin. And that's why these games should be played. I mean, when you have the two best teams on the field, you expect a tight ball game and everything. So it should be a dandy of a game. And I don't think there's any way that Indiana or Oregon is going to go out there and lay an egg tonight. I think you'll see the best ball tonight by both squads.
Yeah, and as you should, because this is hey, we're at the final at the end of the run, so that should like this team and two best, I think. And it's simple final. I think my show why they are here, and St. Notre Dame fans still lingering around. That's an exclamation point on their entry in this year's college football playoffs. They show that there is a reason why they're here. They're the lone ACC entry that they're in the championship game here coming up. So SEC gets shut out again, though. No matter what is going to happen, the Big Ten will be in the championship for the third and second year.
Yeah, they're gonna Paul Feinbaum and all are going to wake up this morning and maybe need to see a psychiatrist, because they're going to go absolutely nuts that the SEC again is nowhere near the championship game this year. And it just goes to show you the parity that has come into college football on all levels. The portal has made a big difference in that regard. But I think it's one of those things that, it's hard to say which conference is dominant now in today's game. I just think with everything the way it is now, that anybody and everybody has a pretty good chance of putting a team together that can go contend for the championship.
Absolutely, and that's never been more proven with the fact that Indiana is here. And if I need to revert to the phone, let me know, because I think we may be having a little audio issue here. It's on the road as usual. That how that can get into some murky waters sometimes. Not sure why. Directly to the link, but yeah, it is. And what a game to have for this final matchup. It's I don't like the fact that it's a rematch, but you got two great teams, and I think the two best teams in the Big Ten Conference, if you want to be honest, in my opinion, because I just think that Oregon is better than Ohio State. I think Ohio State is super good, but I think that they weren't as good offensively as people think. They had two great wide receivers that can throw the ball to, but 50 balls to them all damn day long. I think they had talent, but they still weren't as good, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. I think
it doesn't have the talent per se on paper, but they're playing much better, a higher level of ball.
Yeah. I think Kirk Herbstreit kind of alluded to this last night about, chasing four stars and 5 stars and how irrelevant that is, other than you better have a team that cares about one another and plays for one another, that is grounded in the fundamentals of the game and can play at a high level. And he, pointed out Indiana multiple times in that discussion about how they're not a 4-star, 5-star latent team. They're a team that is coached well and they play sound football. But, I think the other thing to the equation is, like you said, with Ohio State in that comparison, as good as Julian Sayin is, he's still a young quarterback that makes the young kid mistakes, even though he had a tremendous season. And that sometimes is the great separation between a team like Indiana and maybe Ohio State, or Oregon and Ohio State, because they've got quarterbacks that are very experienced quarterbacks. And, I think that came through again last night with Miami and how that ultimately played out. Now, Chambliss had a good game too. I don't want to say because he was not a senior. He's been there for a while, but the experience at that position is one of the key components to how good a team could or could not be when you have the talent around them. And that's the big thing. Yeah, you're back on mute. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think the ultimate thing is going to be with any game in the championships like it is. I think I look at 3 statistical categories that keeps me in tune to what's going on the game is when you look at turnover margin. You know, Indiana has a awesome turnover margin this year. They're a plus 18 on the year, which is just phenomenal. Oregon's at plus 9. You can see the differential there. Then you look at explosive plays. You know, how many explosive plays are in a game? Usually the team that has the most explosives plays, those plays that are greater than 20 yards, are the team that will ultimately win the game, because those are the type of plays that it's hard to rebound from when you give up explosives like some teams do. And Indiana has been a team that has game in, game out, thrived in that category. And then when you finally look at it, I also look at the most, probably a statistic that maybe is not used as much, but I look at points off of turnovers. And the points off of turnovers for me is a key component to that as well. Indiana, 113 points off of turnovers this year. I mean, that is incredible. That's that team football that people that talk about. Complementary football, if you want to put it that way, in that respect, is that Indiana, with that category, has been in the tops of the country the last 2 seasons, where they've capitalized on a mistake by the opposing team, turning the ball over, and then using that and getting points. So those 3 categories for me are categories I keep abreast of during a game, just to gauge how a team is or isn't doing when it comes to their competition. And so far this year, Indiana has been awesome at that, in that sense. But, you know, the other category that Indiana has excelled in this year is rush defense. They're only giving up, like, I think 77 yards a game, which is like 3rd in the country right now, maybe a little bit better. Their defense this year has been unbelievable, with multiple injuries that this team has been able to overcome. When you look at their talent and what they've had to do when guys have gotten hurt, they've been able to step in and get the next man up and still play to a very, very monumental level when you think about it. And Indiana has excelled on defense with that aspect of things when it comes to holding opponents rushing, and then being able also to get pressure on quarterbacks. I believe Indiana this year's got like 49 sacks on the year. So again, defense is a big component of winning games. And those other categories, offensively speaking, are categories that you look at in terms of gauging the actual momentum in a game when it comes to Indiana's season thus far, and they've just done well with it. The other thing that I think has been, and some of the things I'm trying to see if there's any questions here in the box. Let's see. I think this is a good question, Russell. Will 5 stars matter when you get to this level in the CFP? Well, not necessarily. Those rankings, as you see it, we all see it, only means something. There's been a lot of 5 stars that have never evolved to the player that everyone anticipated them being. And sometimes the ones that are rated a 3-star out of high school or a 2-star, or look in the case of Elijah Surratt, a 0-star, and they've become a talented player to the point where they are going to have an NFL career. I mean, those are the type of examples. So a rating gets you gets you a little bit of publication and notoriety, but what you do with that once you get on campus is another thing. And some kids just never evolve after they get on campus. So 5 stars are more for us as a viewing public to gauge a kid's ability, maybe. And not all 5 stars and 4 stars evolve to being the talented player that they once were in high school when they get to the collegiate level.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. You look great.
Make sure you can hear me okay. All right. So pardon to apologize for dealing with some audio issue there, but you know what happens when you're on the road trying to make all that stuff happen. But I think we got it worked out finally. But yeah, hope Indiana gets it worked out, but there's nothing for them to work out. They've just got to stay where they are and where they have been and keep playing at the level they played at. But I think this is going to be a spectacular game because of that. They are playing at that high level. Oregon has to raise their level. They've got to bring it up to where Indiana is. And that's a challenge I'm sure they're obviously going to try to be, but I think they're going to probably be successful in getting close to that. That's why I think we're going to have a good game. I still think Indiana eventually wins this game, potentially by a similar score as the first game. Predicting the outcome of a game is the acme of a fool. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I know how this game is going to come out as far as how close it will be. There's so many things that can determine that. But, you know, if we're judging on what we saw against Alabama, we know what we would expect. I'm not expecting that kind of a response from Oregon is the thing. I think that they know 2 reasons. For one, they played Indiana. They know what this team is like. They know how good they are. They know that they got pushed around before. They know that they couldn't keep their quarterback protected the last time. They saw that Alabama could not run the ball on Indiana. They know that this defense has gotten better as the year's gone on. So they're going to make adjustments, and they're going to do whatever they can to throw Indiana off of their game. They have to do that. Just like Brian Haynes has spent this entire season buffering offensive coordinators by constantly changing his scheming and his game plans. Oregon's going to have to do something. They're going to have to throw something different at Indiana. They're going to have to throw something at Indiana's defense to get them kind of onto their heels. But it's going to be a hell of a chess match.
Yeah, no question. And you brought up the coordinators and what they have to do to adapt and adjust in the midst of a ball game is the $64,000 question for all of them, because it happens so fast. And like you said, I know Brian has done a great job in throwing a wrinkle here or there to attack offenses where he thinks there's a weakness. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the success Indiana has had running the football, and Oregon at that position right now is banged up. Jordan Davis, one of their top running backs, will not play. He is out. And they're actually hurting at that running back position. And they are even letting one of their players that has, quote unquote, entered the portal continue to play because he's a running back.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I'm glad you brought that up. And I didn't mention anything about it on social media because, you know what, I'm not going to be that guy, especially before this game. But if you're in the portal, to me, you just said, I'm leaving this team. I'm wondering, if you enter the portal, should you be eligible to continue to play for the team? There's an argument to be made either way, but again, no stinking rule. There's no rules. Mm-hmm. There's just no rules, period. What rules are there anymore?
Yeah, I know.
The only rules that I know of are holding, illegal procedure. I mean, that seems like to be the only rules of the game we have, and those are still arbitrary on how they're called.
Yes.
So there's nothing that is solid about the college game right now except for the play. That's the amazing thing. You know, I can sit here and complain about that and that and that, but the product itself has never, ever been better. It's never looked better. It's never put out a better product. It's never brought in more fans. The Rose Bowl itself, it drew 6 or 8 million more views than the NBA Finals did. It was just the number for all these games have been higher. So people are loving what they're seeing. If you don't think people are going to tune in for an Indiana because they're not a brand school, they just blew the world, the viewing numbers say otherwise. 25 million tuned in.
It's crazy.
25 million. I mean, So I think it's the compelling product. That's what matters. And Indiana is a compelling product. They're a compelling story, number one. It's a hell of a story that continues to go. Also, it's a great product. They're fun to watch. They've got a great defense, a fun offense. You've got the Heisman Trophy winner. SEC, Schmessec. Nobody cares, baby.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head when it comes to Indiana's, and we've talked about this a lot, brand awareness. And Indiana's brand awareness 2 years ago was at rock bottom, and you just pointed out the fact that the brand awareness now is through the roof, especially when you look at the television numbers. And I think you're correct in the assessment of the product that is being shown each and every week on college football. It's great competition. And we're seeing a level of parity that we haven't seen in college football for quite some time in that respect. And, the portal and whether a kid is eligible or not, that's kind of left up to the coach, I guess. I don't know. But it just goes to show you the only reason why that kid's probably being allowed to be back at Oregon is because of their depth issues at running back. But again, I kind of agree with you. You leave. And that's the hard part about this portal stuff is in the middle of the playoffs for these kids. And it's just like you said, the rules has got to get organized and get this thing back on track because they've got such a great product right now. It's being quote unquote, not, I'm going to use the word ruined here, but, impacted, I guess is a better way to put it. Because of the non-rule of governance when it comes to the product off the field. The product on the field is great, and that's what we're accustomed to, but the product off the field right now is kind of a little bit the wild, wild west as we know it because they don't have any true guardrails.
No doubt about that. And we've kind of gotten off the guardrails. We've got to get a break in. Appreciate you being with us. Indiana Sports Beat Radio, Jim Coyle, along with Coach Griff. Coming to you. I'm down in Atlanta, side of the Peach Bowl and the college football playoff semifinal. Tonight's matchup, Indiana and Oregon at Mercedes Stadium. Back with more right after these messages.
Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Ball in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is Fun Day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas for mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Ball in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. Get more for your money at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you, coming to you from Atlanta, GA site of the college football playoff semifinal round tonight. Indiana, Oregon, Peach Bowl, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The participants are ready, locked in, and boy, this is a war. This is a match of warriors here, Coach. You got Dan Lang, who, boy, they were close last year, Oregon, and they got knocked off by Ohio State. And boy, this I'm really started out the season. This is our year, and Indiana comes up, takes care of business, and so boy, they don't want to be yet set to the side again. But and no one's who saw that coming. Indiana team to a step in there. But again, I mentioned it would be the third consecutive Big Ten national champion. Third consecutive different national champion. I mean, there's not much more that could stick a knife in the SEC right now than to do, and for it to be Indiana of all teams. And because that really brings it home of teams like Alabama going by the wayside, Georgia going by the wayside. These once juggernauts of the SEC are now they're only in the playoffs because there's more than 4 spots. But there are only 4 spots. Well, they'd have gotten in because everybody thought that that league was so much better than it really is. And that's another thing. Do some people at least have common sense to look at this now and go, well, okay, well, maybe the SEC's not the juggernaut we thought it was. Man, we're not in a national championship. You can go on and on, but yeah, it's just time to, you got to let go of the past.
Right.
I don't care what happened 3 years ago. That ship has sailed. The sport is not the same. And whether they're in the Southeast Conference or wherever, or if you're a fan, doesn't matter. You have to grasp the fact it's a different world. It's going to stay that way, and it's a good one. Other than teams being able to stockpile NIL money, Coach, the transfer portal itself, this is what has made this product so incredible to watch, so fun, so exciting. You don't know who's going to be good year over year, and it allows teams like Indiana to get into the fray. And I don't think there's anything more exciting than that. And I think, again, these TV numbers show that. Those are Indiana fans watching it. So fun stuff. And I think this is going to be, you've got a Friday night game, a game between two of the best teams, if not the two best teams in the country. I think the ratings, they're going to be a big ratings night as well. Now, a lot of eyes watching this game, including a lot of recruits.
Oh, absolutely. It's when you get to this point and you are the only college football team on display, that alone is a huge benefit to your recruiting efforts, not just for this season. It's for the class of 27. It's the class of 28. Those are the type of things that gets the brand awareness to the next level. When you talk about the notoriety that Indiana has gotten is going to pay dividends for them when they go recruit against other teams for those, bona fide top line players. I mean, They've got a couple that are going to make their decision this weekend at the Army-Navy game that is going to, make their choices known on national TV. I don't think we would ever sat here and thought that Indiana would have their name be possibly mentioned by a recruit out of that game, but it's going to be a chance for them on a couple kids. So it's huge. And you're correct. The households that Indiana's been in this year, last week alone, 25 million on top of that is, it's crazy to see, but you're correct. There's good and bad about the portal. The good part of it is the product that's been on the field has been tremendous on all different fronts. And that's the thing that has made college football better, but it's also given opportunity to those that may have never thought they could be at this level now that they've got the ability to go compete on an equal playing field.
Yeah, and we saw that Indiana was also the benefactor of another gift from one certain alumnus, Mark Cuban, who said, I think they're happier this year than they were last year. But that's another part of this. While Indiana has not been the king of NIL, of course, but they're building up. And the more you continue to put a great product out, the more you're going to have people come to back that up. And because when you're getting an ROI, a return on investment, you're a lot more apt to do that. And as opposed to having a $10 million basketball roster that you can't get to the NCAA tournament with, Indiana is making hay on the football field with great players, great coaching, and it's just remarkable to see. But now the question comes, Coach, we're already seeing I hate to say better, but a higher level of talent player. And when I say talent, I'm talking about what their raw talent is perceived to be, where they're or how they're seen to rank against their peers. But that level is going to go up. So what you're getting is a better piece of clay to start with, stronger clay, however you want to describe it. But that should raise your level of play as well, because there are better athletes. So you're just starting with a better starting point. Will it change things? Look, it's supposed to. It should. But how much better can a team get? This team is lights out on both sides of the ball. Their efficiency is off the chart. They don't make mistakes. I mean, what more could a team like this do? This could possibly be an undefeated 16-0 team, and yet we're talking about getting better talent. Mm-hmm. It's a weird conversation to have.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that Curt Cignetti is better than a lot of his adversaries on the recruiting trail, whether it be high school kids or portal guys, is his ability to evaluate the talent. And he is an individual that doesn't get swayed by this kid's a 4-star, 5-star, whatever. He gets swayed by how he views them on tape in the productivity department, as well as some other things that he's talked about. He's one of the best at it, I think, there is. And that's why his success, not only at Indiana, but other stops, has been proven true when he finds guys like Elijah Surratt. And, you can go right down the line, Aiden Fisher. These are guys that, he liked, and he's won with them. And that's the thing that those guys have brought to the table in that respect. But like you said, high visibility gives you an opportunity to get your product in the households of many people throughout the country, and it's a recognizable name. And those type of kids that see Indiana play the way they do, they want to go play for a guy like Curt Cignetti because of how they play, how they win, and how everyone talks about the program. Those are just, you talk about marketing, man, that's free marketing every Saturday for Indiana.
Oh, I've talked about the fact that, how if we added up the commercial time Indiana has gotten off of football, off of these pregame shows, off of the highlight shows, off of just so much. It's in the millions and millions and millions of dollars in that regard. And that doesn't include the talent that it's going to bring in. So yeah, it's remarkable, but it's selling itself. And most people know if you have a good product and it does what it says it's going to do, it generally will do that. And Indiana is doing what it says it's going to do, especially Kurt Cignetti. So looking forward to that. Jim Coyle with you here on this Friday of game day, along with Coach Griff, as getting ready for tonight's matchup between Indiana and Oregon to determine the final participant in this year's college football national championship, which will take place in Miami. It's another thing, Coach. Miami made it in. They're going to have a home game, man. Kind of odd. We're going to have a national championship with one of the teams basically having a home game. And then, though, on the side, Fernando has connections to Miami. A lot of Miami connections in this thing. It's crazy how these come to fruition.
Yeah, it was interesting last night when they talked about we'll see you in Miami, and I think it's like 10 minutes from where they practiced. And I got to thinking, and you had said this the other day, what a tremendous home field advantage now that Miami's going to enjoy at the national championship site. And who would have thought that Miami would have been that team that will be there competing for the national championship? Oh, by the way, at their home field. It kind of worked out nice for them in that respect. So whoever goes into there, while I do think that it'll be equally distributed amongst the fans, you got to figure that Miami, gets that little boost from home field advantage.
Well, we've seen the Indiana really, really step up their game. Tells him about taking over 80%, I'd say. I expect the same. I say he's been him. I think Indiana is just going to rough shot over as from the standpoint, and the deal is his advantage in that regard. Like plays it home game for him, but because getting in the amount of fans of your fans, and it's indoor state kind of keeps that noise in there, really that noise level up, and like a little dip on Oregon as it was in case as it was months back with Tim's out in Union, but Indiana didn't have a problem there. I'm sure that Oregon and Dante Moore prepared for this, but I think that to be and that's something not accustomed to a lot, but for any of the big, they played, they know what it's like. They played there successfully winning. I
think we just lost Jim with that kind of there at the hotel. And that's what happens sometimes when you're on site. But just to pick up where I think he was going with this is that you got two top-tier quarterbacks in tonight's game, and their play tonight will be a big factor in whether their team continues to move forward in this national championship from that perspective. But it's amazing that both of these teams have got to the point where they're at. And I know Jim had talked earlier about Oregon's path. The game that I thought flipped it for me with Oregon when they lost to Indiana was their win at Iowa, 18-15. I thought that was the game that catapulted them back into the spotlight of getting themselves back on top and playing that top tier football. And it's ironic that Iowa was the team that kind of did that.
we have to always look and see who's going to be the team to surprise you. I mean, how many times was Indiana surprised this year? The toughest games they ended up having, first of all, would have been number one at Penn State. Nobody saw that coming. And of course, Iowa, but that's understandable because they're actually a very good team, way better than they have been given credit for. But those are the kinds of games that gave Indiana what they're going to need to get through a gauntlet like this. You have to play in and successfully navigate those waters if you're going to travel them again and try to do so successfully.
Absolutely. And those are the type of games like we had talked about at the beginning of the year, the 3-game gauntlet that Indiana was going to hit with Illinois, Iowa, and Oregon was going to have a lot to say. And then we said Penn State. And those were the games that were going to have a monumental effect on where Indiana's season would end up. And lo and behold, that was exactly the case. They had to go on the road and win in tough places and against teams that by one were, good ball clubs, but are even tougher in their own home environment. And that was something that Indiana was able to overcome. And that's what's led this team to the point where they're at today.
Let's take another break. Appreciate everybody being with us here on this Friday. Game day, baby. The Peach Bowl college football playoff semifinal. Number 1, Indiana. Number 5, Oregon. Tonight at 7:30 from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We've got more coming up. Back with it right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is Fun Day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas from mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. Get more for your money at Andy.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday. It's game day. Glad to have you along. Jim Coyle with you, Coach Griff as well. Coach joining us on this Friday. And John Herrick's going to join us a little later. Looking forward to that as part of the IU broadcast team. He'll stop by as well. But this is it, man. There's nothing else to do on this Friday. There's no media availability. Everybody is it's the calm before the storm, so to speak, as we've got one half of the bracket completed. Miami knocking off Ole Miss last night in a game that went down to the wire. And as it should have been with a semifinal game, we got the perfect kind of a matchup. Do we see that tonight? I've seen Indiana, you wouldn't expect it, but what I've seen from Oregon, you do. And I think that this is going to be a good game because of the level of talent of both of these teams, of both of these coaches. I think Indiana's going to win the game, but I think it is going to be a tough game because it's going to be a game where Oregon's not going to stop. They can't. This is, it's a one game tournament, man. You lose, you're out. So you have to fight for everything, scratch and claw, all that good old cliche stuff. But I think that when you get to this level, man, I love these games. And last night, a game that no one really expected to be that good of a game, it was. And so we got some great entertainment out of that. And I think it's going to be more of the same tonight, maybe a little bit more electric. But I don't know. These defenses, I think the defenses for both Indiana and Oregon are better than from what we saw those two teams last night, although Miami has got a ferocious defensive front led by Reuben Bain Jr. and company, making life hell for quarterbacks is what they've been doing a lot of lately, but that's what Indiana has done. When Indiana took on Oregon the first time around, they had given up one sack, and I think that was about game 6 or thereabouts. Indiana was able to get Dante Moore on the ground 5 times in that game alone. So made life heck. And then they've taken a hit in the running game. But as Coach mentioned, they got a guy back. He's in the portal, but he's going to play. So crazy doings there as well. So, Coach, if you're not sure if you're with us or not, but he'll be back with us here in a second. But, yeah, and the coaches got together yesterday. Let's hear what Coach Cignetti had to say.
Teams ahead good. We did have a big win against Illinois where they lost some guys in the secondary and got shorthanded as the game went on. But it is a credit to our players playing the first play, the last play the same, regardless of the competitive circumstances. But the bottom line is when you play really good people, like tomorrow, you got to win more battles, play in, play out than they win, and do the things you got to do to win football games. Make sure you don't do the things that lose football games. So it's all about preparation, having an edge, mindset, and then putting it on the field, play 1 to 150.
All right, we'll go next here in the second row on the left.
Mike Griffith, Atlanta Journal-Constitution and Dog Nation. Coaches, kind of off the field football question about the enforceability of contracts. We're seeing a lot of issues with this rising up. I guess I wanted to get your thoughts on how important it is to get that ironed out and any thoughts or ideas you have for how college football might go forward with a working model.
All right, start with Coach Lanning, please. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. I'll be honest, my entire focus right now is on this game. I'm sure coach is no different. But yeah, contracts, you'd love to say that they should be enforceable. And, at some point, we'll see what that ends up looking like. But I think that's the secret behind a contract, right? Is it supposed to mean something?
Yeah, my focus is on our prep, and the only thing I'm going to say about all this stuff is obviously there's a lot of loose ends, and it needs to be tied up in terms of the whole recruiting process. So there's a lot of work to be done, and that's one area.
There you go. There's the two coaches there commenting on that. Not a lot of clarity there, but there's not a lot to say, to be honest with you. It's ironic that Dan Lanning, who's got a player in the portal, involved in that. But it's just it's a weird mess. There's a lot of stuff that has to be fixed. Everybody knows that. But who's going to fix it? Seriously, I mean, that's the question. Who is going to fix it? When is it going to be fixed? How is it going to be fixed? Everyone's complaining about it and knows the problems, but nobody seems to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. It cannot go on. So just very, it's a wonky situation, pretty much. I guess is all you can say about it, Coach, from that standpoint. But again, it hasn't affected the product on the field, which is crazy because when something is this out of whack, and it's out of whack, way out of whack, there's usually an impact on what it is involved with, but it is not. It's the opposite. The game's never been more fun to watch. It's never been more enjoyable. It's never brought happiness to more fans from more different walks of life. So it's a weird duality of things we got going on here.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, the product on the field has been great, and the portal has contributed to that product on the field. But the product off the field needs some work on a lot of fronts when it comes to enforceability and things of that nature. And hopefully, just hopefully, at some point in time, whoever that individual or group is able to step forward and provide those guardrails. And it's probably going to have to be the college presidents that ultimately come in and, try to figure this thing out. But, you got the debacle at Washington with their starting quarterback. And
has there been any movement on that? Didn't something happen?
Well, his agent dropped him yesterday.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, the
That's
agent.
great.
Yeah, the agent dropped him because the agent, he got this kid the deal at Washington and he signed it, and the kid's getting bad advice from other people that are, trying to make him go out on the market to see what his true value is. It's almost like the Nico Amalava or Amalava situation when he was at Tennessee, and the agent ended up dropping him. Now, I've seen reports as early as this morning, I believe, that he has, withdrawn or gone back to Washington. But, that's the debacle.
Choice.
Well, yeah.
Because when you sign a contract, that there's no way that would not be enforceable unless they were able to come up with, this was signed under duress, or he was 17 when he's not 18. So you come up with something under duress or whatever, false pretenses. You're going to have to really find a stretch to get out of it. And so I don't know where he thought he was going. And I heard someone talk about, these kids need to be able to see what their value is. That's great. Don't sign a contract. See what your value is. Do whatever you need to do. Don't sign a contract. This is not difficult. It's not that difficult here, people. Why is it being made to be to be so hard? It's not. And that's why I don't understand why they can't fix this damn thing. Why is it this difficult? Why can you not have a rule that is a rule? It seems like everything that is created, every Tom, Dick, and Harry comes along trying to find ways to poke holes in them, and that's all that they're trying to do. And you're not helping anything. You're only, making things worse and making things less stable.
Yeah, and again, like you said, if you sign a contract, you put your name to it, it's enforceable. And Washington was going to enforce that contract, and he was going to lose a lot of money if he did not abide by it. And
playing time.
Yeah, no question. And I think I applaud Washington to sticking to their guns and not, copping to whether it was public pressure or not about the situation. They made a good faith offer to the young man, and I don't think it was cheap. And you can't go out all of a sudden and say, "Whoops, buyer's remorse. I need to go check out the next best thing." And you're correct with that aspect of it, and that's what I mean by the product off the field is being hurt in their image with things like this because there is no guardrails, and that's where they need to have somebody or a commission, whatever that is, be able to be established and get this thing back on track on keeping the product the way the product is, but at the same time, making sure the playing field is level for everyone when it comes to the portal and how that is handled.
We got a commissioner of coverage, but we don't have a commissioner of football, baby. You got the Aflac Duck. And we've got to take a break. Man, it's flying. We're halfway through already. Coming to you from ATL Atlanta, GA, site of the college football playoff quarterfinal matchup. Indiana, Oregon, tonight, 7:30 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Jim Coyle, Coach Griff with you. Back with more on the other side.
Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is fun day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas for mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. Get more for your money at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you here on this Game Day Friday college football playoff. Indiana, Oregon tonight, Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta. 7:30 is the game time. Well, that's scheduled TV time. They probably, 15 minutes, Coach Griff with me as well. They kick in 15, 20 minutes before.
Yeah, something like that. I know last night I was getting frustrated because after every change of possession, they were going to a commercial. And I thought,
Gotta get that money, baby.
How are these teams going to get in any type of rhythm when they're taking a break after each change of possession? I mean, it was, I was getting frustrated with it, but that's the price you pay when you pay a contract of billions of dollars and you got to recoup some of that money.
But it's a valid point, because that's something else. You know, we talk about all the added media things that go on, and there's a lot. I mean, I'm saying it's a lot. Hell, it wore me out doing all of that stuff. But then you've got the changes like that. The TV timeouts are different. They're added. There's more of them. The game is longer because of all of that. You get stymied. Your momentum. If you're a team that is, using tempo, you're trying to get up, and you can't get that done because the damn commercials are stopping. Yeah, I mean, this changes some teams' characteristics, who they are and how they operate, and that's something that you got to keep an eye on, I think, for an Indiana team who really likes to offensively get you on your heels and make you pay.
No question about it. And that's the thing that I think ultimately with these type of games, you've got to be aware of when those timeouts will be, and how you handle them. Like you said, for some teams at the right time, it makes perfect sense. And it helps them, by at the other time, it hurts the team that is rolling, because they're wanting to get back out there and get going, and you're held up by a 3.5 minute commercial.
Yeah, and because you've got a lot of other things on your mind as far as what is happening in the game right there. tonight, Fernando and company back at it. We've seen them a week ago. We've talked about the fact that they had this break of 25 days of not playing a game, and then you play the 3 toughest games that you're going to play in a span of 19 days. That's another thing that has to be fixed. Not the latter, the former. You cannot have a stinking 25 damn day break. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. No sport does that in any way, stretch, or form, and you can't expect the product to continue to be good like that. I think it will affect certain teams, but regardless of that, I think there's just a lot of changes. There are cosmetic changes that have made. What do you do? Do you just move it up? Why do they have to stretch it so damn far? Why does it have to end in February? Why cannot end during the semester break? Why do they have to not use all of that time in December? What is it that they're losing? I'm sure it has something to do with TV. They're trying to balance. They're trying to get the most TV time out of it that they can. But at some point, you've got to start looking at what's best for the game, for the students, this transfer portal thing, all of that. To get all of this fixed, there's going to have to be a lot of things that are moved.
Yeah, they've talked about some of the things that have impacted, is the conference championship a must for each conference to play in? Does that get eliminated and goes to something else that benefits the playoff? Like they talked about the play-in games and such, and things of that matter. And I think I heard someone, I couldn't remember who, was talking about moving the season up, even the start of the season up, to negate this length of time that they're playing.
Why would you even need to move the season when you have a 25-day blank? It's like, there's your damn time right there.
Well, and I agree with that aspect of things. And I think you were correct when you made the comment about, ESPN is having the sole rights to this. They're juggling that, the NFL that they want to sprinkle around it, and what else they're trying to showcase at the certain times, has, like, I'm sure has an impact on what they feel is the best availability. It's like, I was thinking, why does the Fiesta Bowl have to be played last night and, the game tonight? Why couldn't both these games gone on Saturday, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, so it's a normal week for the coaches and players? It ends up being a short week for both programs because they just got done playing. So there are some things I still scratch my head at as to how logical some of these approaches are, because it's not been in the best interest of, in some respects, the players. So, must have lost their boy again. But again, the thing about tonight and what Indiana, I think is going to have to do in a game like this, and we talked about this the other night on the tailgate show, is Indiana has got to find themselves like they have, having success on first down and staying ahead of the chains. When Indiana has been ahead of the chains on schedule, they're averaging about four to 4.5 yards on first and second down. And that sets them up for more third and medium and third and short. They're converting 56% of their third downs, which is an incredible conversion rate that they're at. Washington or Oregon is like at 46%. So you can see the two dynamics there. But if Indiana can stay ahead of the chains and have that success on first and second down and not put themselves, behind the sticks, then you're going to see Indiana move the football with regularity and put points on the board. And that ultimately is the huge component when we talk about a game like this. And the exact opposite is true for the defense, is getting Dante Moore and Oregon's offense off schedule, uncomfortable, which they did in that first matchup. Indiana had 6 sacks in that first matchup in Oregon. And that has a lot to do with how Oregon was ineffective in that game. The Moore was not his best because they rattled him.
Yeah, my the first is Stephen. Part of it. He just become part of it. I mean, maybe his second or third game probably after Wyatt went down. So it's Brian done the same every. He's found to find the weakness of teams, to scheme to that, and he's losing these guys. I expect nothing less, but give him as much. You know that's in the back line, because on the ground you're not anything accomplished. And so Dante Moore is also somebody who's just as dangerous as his arm.
Yes. He's a guy that, too, I've even said this with him, and you kind of broke up there a little bit, but he's a guy that if you can get after and rattle him, it puts him in a state where he starts to press a little bit. And that's when he makes his big mistakes, makes, poor throws and interceptions. And also the thing that Dante Moore should do more of is run out when he breaks contain, is run the football outside the pocket. Well, he does not like to run it. It's a very well-known fact that he wants to throw it and not run it. But that is one thing that Indiana will have to be conscious of tonight, is staying in coverage if he breaks contain, but also making sure that you got somebody attached to him so he doesn't just go running hog wild over you. So they have him accounted for. And I guarantee it, Bryant is able to do that with his scheme. And I'm sure he's got it ready for that particular thing to make sure that they have him in check on those situations where throwing the football is a must for Oregon.
Yeah, and they got some receivers back here recently that bolstered that part of the offense for them. Indiana's going to have to do a better job stopping their run game as well. They kind of got bitten a little bit last time by that, and I don't know, maybe that had something to do with Stephen Daly just getting into that, and having just lost Kellen Wyatt kind of recently with that. Maybe it seems like Bryant really, toward the end of the season, his game just really ramped up with the scheming. And I don't know if that was with purpose or if it was just a natural progression of where they got to. But I know one thing, they're playing at the most optimum level right now, and he's coaching at the most optimum level right now with what he is doing. And we're at the first of El, I do one of the players that I call it Deinzenstein, because that's you gotta hear of. He's wrecking teams and wrecking what they're trying to do. That's the mark of a great defense.
Yeah, you've heard about being in the zone. I think you could say that Brian Haynes and the defense, for that matter, have been in the zone when it comes to their play and his ability to exploit weaknesses of an offense and force them into things that they do not like to do, or are uncomfortable doing. You talked about Oregon getting a couple of their big time players back. Oregon is a tight end dominant team. That's where their passing game is strongest. When they get their tight ends involved in the passing game, that is when Oregon moves the ball. And against Indiana, their 2 tight ends caught 3 balls only that entire game. And that's going to be the key tonight, to watch them try to exploit the middle of the field with their 2 tight ends. and Indiana's going to have to make sure they're on point with their coverage and stuff, because they like to fit the ball into those windows where the tight ends are a part of it. And that is something that Indiana was able to take away that first contest that they played against them, and they weren't a factor in that game. And we'll see how that, all evolves tonight and what Oregon does differently to try to get those guys involved more.
Yeah, and we all have great confidence in this Indiana team with good reason, because of how they've been playing on both sides of the ball. But make no mistakes, this will be a tough game. I mean, while Oregon's offensive coordinator, Will Stein, is heading to Kentucky, normally that really, really devastates a team, in my opinion, because your split allegiance, your focus, especially a guy that's taking a head coaching job. It's different. It's bad enough when it's a coordinator, but when it's a guy that's taking a head coaching job, that school is paying you, the other school. They want your focus. They understand what you're doing, but in today's atmosphere, as we've already spoken of at length, you have to be in the portal now. You have to be building your roster now. You have to be building this team now. And you can't do that if you're half your attention is elsewhere. So that's one of the things that makes it difficult, and you wonder, and the NFLs are probably hoping that has an impact. Did you their as well someplace, or is that am I thinking someplace else?
Kind of broke up a little bit there, but both their coordinators are going to be head coaches. That's the other thing.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah. The DC is going to be the head coach at Cal. And you're correct. I mean, you got two of your coordinators. What was interesting was after the Orange Bowl, each coordinator flew to their team that they're going to be with. Will Stein went to Kentucky, and the DC guy went to Cal because of what you had mentioned. They had portal visits coming in to those campuses. So they were there for about 3-day window, and they flew back to Oregon on Monday night, I believe, because they had to be back to start practicing and prep for the game tonight, which I don't know how you can do that in a way that is
efficient.
Efficient, or their mind, their bodies separated because they're in one place, but they have to be in the other. And like you said, this is the most important time to build your roster. So it's got to be an uncomfortable feeling for them, but even for Dan Lanning.
And ironically enough, Will Stein, a former Louisville quarterback, heading to Kentucky to be the head coach at Kentucky. So, back in the day, something would have happened either. But it's not bad day anymore, man. We're here in the new age, the new rage, where Indiana is number one in the country. And not going to let people forget, this would just be the capitalization of what I think is the greatest sports story. I'm waiting for someone to give me something that is superior. The Miracle on Ice doesn't do it for me. It's great. That's great from a national perspective, but that was one game where everyone thinks of. Of course, they had to win other games to get there. Not all those other games were as monumental as an upset as the one in which they beat the Russians. Well, when Indiana beat Oregon, when they went to Iowa, when they did all this stuff. But this is a team that it was the worst ever. So where they've come from is a big part to me of what makes this the most incredible story ever. That and the fact of the fact that they're doing it with the talent level that they're doing it with. That is just utterly amazing. And there's nobody that can look at that and look at those numbers and just not shake their head and say, how in the hell are they doing it?
Yeah, I agree with you when we said something yesterday about what is like you said, the best sports story. And you mentioned about the Miracle on Ice, and I got to thinking later in the day, and I was thinking about it. I'm kind of with you on that one because of it was a culmination of games in that type of environment that led to that beating of the Soviets, which at that time was a monumental task to do when their world ranking was the number one ranked hockey club in the country. But I'm not sure there's any sports story that can quite measure up to what this has evolved into for the last 2 years, and how Indiana has gone from obscurity to being the darling of the country is quite amazing. And it's really is something to see in that respect. And, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. I mean, he did the same thing at James Madison before he came to Indiana. They were kind of the Cinderella story of college football, undefeated. They had just gone from, the football championship subdivision to the FBS level. And here they were in the Sun Belt Conference undefeated. And that was at that time was the darling of the country. So Sig's been in this movie before.
Yet to be named movie.
That's right.
Yesterday, Angelo Pizzo, the writer and producer of Hoosiers and Rudy, was on with us, and won't be getting into days for this movie, but it's definitely be coming out in some form, fashion, documentary, probably. Not like he said, you'd have to wait 20, 25, 30 years for a generation of people to forget how it happened, how they really were, because by then he had a piece or not, it'd be, well, they already are, but I mean, they stay away, which would be wild. But yeah, it's just fun to watch this. It's also fun to watch. I think that a lot of people are tired, sick and tired. We all were. We were sick and tired of seeing Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia, I guess, the national championship. So now we've got things. I think that there's a lot. I think fans around the country love that. It mattered who you put in Miami, whomever, and well, I could say whomever. But in is that special this story going along. Miami has their own story as well. That team was not expected. They're coming out of the conference that was the least respected. That did put up a lot of quality teams, it seemed, this year. But again, perception. So this is perception that we build up on these teams, these conferences, and what that. And I'm having this discussion last night on the reason why you get that conference. You can't. No way we can judge Notre Dame against team play big conference against team plays in the SEC when they're playing every last team of our conferences and the Naval Academy and Army and whatever else they want to slide in, and it's that they need to judge the conference. It has to be the same for everybody. You've got now the conference as far as the SEC to games and adding a people requirement. The ACC is moving in that direction of the game schedule. So everybody going to be on the same playing field except for one program, Notre Dame. And I do not understand why a guy or everybody keeps in the backside couldn't give two crap if Notre Dame ever played in another playoff game again. And it's not because I can't stand them. It's because they're not being judged equally. They're not doing anything to change that. If you want to say not in the conference, okay, you better beef up the hell of that schedule. The last place team of the worst conference, the last place team of Purdue, the last place team of the SEC, Arkansas, and then these military academies beat that schedule up and quit losing at home, which is what they've done for 2 years in a row, and then moan and groan about it. Oh, he didn't get to go. He didn't deserve it. Discussion, but that all have day long, but it doesn't matter what I think. Notre Dame just has that perfect. I don't understand why CFP feels as if they have to have Notre Dame. Do you?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you when it comes to Notre Dame, and if they don't want to join a conference and they want to say that they're different, then their criteria to get into the college football playoffs must be stricter, especially with the schedule that they're playing. The easiest thing for them to do is just become a full-fledged member of the ACC, because they already have a scheduling agreement with them, at least for now. I know they're at the end of the season. That kind of blew up as well, but you got to have everyone on equal footing when it comes to, the conference games and what you're playing outside of conference, so that you're not, having an advantage over one conference of the other. So the SEC moving up one conference game, I applaud that decision that they made to do that. There was a lot of times over the year where week 8 and 9 for them, they were playing University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, which for their fans and everyone else knew it was a throwaway game. But they did that so they could get their teams rested and healed up prior to playing the final 2 games of the year and possible college, their championships games. But yeah, I don't think Notre Dame has a lot to stand on, especially when they're not in a conference where they're banging their heads against equal talent week in, week out, and they're playing Army and Navy and other teams along the way that don't measure up to what a conference gives you week in, week out. So I don't know why there's such a hold on with Notre Dame when it comes to the overall college game. I guess maybe prestigiousness is the only thing I can think of, but I do think with you that get in a conference, and this is a mute talking point if they did that.
I agree. I think, are we behind on a break?
Yeah, we're right now is when we should probably go.
Right now we shall back with just last break. I can't remember. I'm all discombobulated. Yeah, I think it is. So, all right, perfect. We'll do it. We got more coming up. Appreciate you guys being with us. Jim Coyle with you, coming to you from the ATL Atlanta for tonight's Indiana, Oregon college football playoff semifinal matchup. Back with more after these messages.
Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is fun day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas for mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. Get more for your money at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Friday. Glad to have you. It is game day in the city of Atlanta as Mercedes-Benz Stadium tonight, the site for number 1 Indiana and number 5 Oregon to complete this championship match. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. You know him from the halftime of the IU broadcast. I'm from WIBC. What all do you do at WIBC, John?
So I'm the news director there, and I also work with another friend of your show, Greg Rakestraw. I do a lot of games for him on the ISC Sports Network. So busy times.
Greg's a busy dude, man. He's a busy boy. He stays busy, as do you with these multiple roles that you have. And we were just talking some stuff. I love learning stuff I didn't know. I didn't know that Fish started in Montana.
Yeah, he was in Butte for a while. As did me. I got right out of college, started my career in Havre, Montana, which was smaller than Butte. And the toughest thing about living in Montana for the short time I did was that every city is so far away from each other. A group of the friends I made when I lived out there, we went to Great Falls one day, but Great Falls is an hour and a half away. You're in the car.
It's a great distance.
It's a great distance away. But listen, it's beautiful scenery. It's a wonderful place to start my career. And boy, when the show Yellowstone was popular, I sure loved it because I loved getting to relive all the scenery out there.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Sports casting has taken me a variety of places.
Hey, and it's always fun. But man, could you eat? No one. I'm not even going to ask. I'm tired of asking that question to anybody. No one imagined it. But this ride the NFL has taken all of us on is continue to just be amazing. Doesn't even matter what happens. You can't take away this. I think this is the greatest sports story. I challenge people, give me something better than this entire story. The only thing people want to come up with is the Miracle on Ice.
Yeah. That's all I can think of.
I don't see this is a magnitude that's just deeper, bigger, greater width because of their program that was, where it is, where it's going. It's just crazy to see, but it's also this time in sports how all these issues and problems. The one problem we don't have, John, is the product has never been better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think every first week of the college football playoff, there were blowouts, but I think we got along. Matches got a lot better, and I think my family and I were sitting around looking at the bracket before the quarterfinals. We're all saying, like, these are the 8 best teams. I truly believe these are the 8 best teams left. And then we had some fantastic matchups. Ole Miss beat Georgia, was a wonderful game.
Almost did it again.
And my issue is a great story. And they looked really good to start the year. Those 2 losses, which set them back, but now they're back on the right track, and they've got a lot of wins on offense. So this is going to be set up to be a phenomenal title game, I think, no matter who is in it. And if you're Indiana, I'm going to sound like Kurt Steady here. Definitely can't be looking Oregon, but these guys won't do that because they've already seen them, so they know what they can do, and they know how good they are up close and personal.
And they know that since they didn't lose, they want again. Not revenge. It's just they want to move forward. They because they went through this last year. They were the number one team. They were the team with the target on their back, and they ran to Allstate and kind of got derailed. But Dan Lanning's a coach. They're great athletes. They've got great talent. I think it's going to be a great game. As much as I have confidence in all that they do, defense, how incredible it is, I'm like, I mean, a close game by close. I mean, 10 points. Is it going to be like last night? I don't. That could be predicted. I'm not going right. I think Wednesday is all that I will say, because I think they're just superior on both sides of the ball. And the job Brian Haynes has done, it's been phenomenal to watch. And I'm sure that you've been having a blast. Don's having a blast. I mean, what a group you guys got. John Herrick with me. But what, boy, Buck, which one, Don or Buck? I'm like, wow. Where are you from?
I think they're one and the same. And they are so great together. They are radio magic together, absolutely. And they play off of each other so well. And I mean, one of my favorite things about that day on November 6th was very special, because that was the day where Indiana played the basketball game against Louisville, the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State. Good to find Don some tea, and the people at the Lucas Oil Stadium did all they could, but all I got was lukewarm tea. For the most important thing, it's the day. I remember predicting on play, he said, I don't think Julian saying that first down on that quarterback is down. The broadcast more hilarious. Like, his day and Indiana ball, everybody in this is going to owe me something. And he's like, I don't know, but you're all and Don said, I have some stuff to give you. Just, but there was a book written by ESPN a long time ago called "These Guys Have Fun." I don't think there's any radio in America that's more fun than the three of us and our statistician Sam Jacobs. It's just an absolute blast every game out. And they love to give me grief and throw some shade my way. If it's a game Indiana gets up big and then start roasting, that's fine, because if they're roasting me, it means Indiana's got a big lead. So, no, it's a lot of fun, especially over these last few years.
I imagine, how do you what, 2 years now?
It's 4 years. I know. My year was Tom Allen's second to last year, and that year started promising. If you remember, I started 3-0, and then they lost to Cincinnati, and then they had that really tough loss on the road to Nebraska, and then the wheels came off until they beat Michigan State. Then they looked like they might beat Purdue, and then Dexter Wilson got hurt. So that's a very frustrating season, and so was the 3-9 year after it. But you just felt like, man, they're right there. They're so close. Like they were close in all of those games. And then Curt Cignetti comes in, and if you remember at his introductory conference, hey, we're within a few plays. I watched the film. You guys had a few plays here and there that if you make them, that was a bowl team. So I just felt like when Cignetti came in and I looked at his record, I Googled him before he said Google me, by the way. But when I looked at that, I'm like, man, this guy knows how to win these type ball games. His details are on the money. He does not let anything derail him. So you're just like, if you make a few plays here and there, you're going to win these games more than you lose them. Now, I thought he would win. I was like maybe 8-4, 9-3. I don't think anybody thought 11-2 first year and then undefeated at this point. But it just goes to show you how good of a coach he really is.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal to watch and to be a part of, to see it from afar. And now to see them potentially put this all together, because you got to get this game tonight. It's huge. Just getting to the national championship, yeah, everybody can say it's great. But no, I'm sorry. Finish this deal out. Even from my standpoint of covering it, I want to see it happen.
Yeah,
it's historic. It's just so historic and fun. It's fun to watch the fans. It's this fan base. My God, the Rose Bowl. I was just blown away by the amount of fans out there. I think we're going to see the same exact thing, if not more so, tonight at Mercedes-Benz. But man, Indiana fans have really rallied in a quick turnaround. I guess it's not hard to do when you're undefeated.
No, it's not. What helps this week is that a lot of these people within driving distance. You also have a lot of people that live in California that graduated from Indiana. I hung out with a few of them at the Rose Bowl. So now, I mean, now that you're at the next level, the sentiment among Indiana fans, let's not stop the train now. I mean, keep it going. This is special. There's no reason to stop it at this point. And you heard Fernando Mendoza and Kurt Signetti and the other football players talk about, without the fans, this would be a difficult thing for us to do because we feed off the momentum, we feed off the energy they provide for us. And in that first matchup against Oregon, you didn't have that as much because you were playing at Oregon, but now you're going to have most likely a home field advantage with all these fans here.
Yeah, and it's I've ever thought that.
Right.
That Indiana was going to have the advantage from a fan standpoint. And actually, in this stadium, it's going to be very loud, and it's actually going to give Indiana a decisive advantage, one that I don't know that they've had to the magnitude.
Yeah, I think that it's really come into effect on those third down plays where Oregon has the ball. I could just see it right now. There's going to be a big 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 4. There might be a one play like we saw in the Alabama game last week where Dan Lanning might have to decide, does he go for it, does he punt, what is he going to do here? And the crowd is going to be absurdly loud, and it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates that. But these are two great coaches. I mean, I look, their combined win-loss record from their coaching stops are like 192 and 44. I mean, Signetti has an incredible record, and Dan Lanning's only lost 7 games. Head coach is only 39, so he hasn't coached as many games as Signetti has. But the record these guys have as coaches, I mean, so it's going
to speak of the test. How is it from a coaching standpoint this offseason?
Yeah.
Pat Fitzgerald coming in, Matt Campbell coming in. It's just this. The league is just going to continue to get better, which is fun to see. And we continue to watch this grow, man. Well, brother, I cannot thank you enough. Yeah. Appreciate you stopping by.
Problem.
On the broadcast. Keep having fun.
Yeah.
Tell Buck I said hello. We're waiting for him to come. he gave me grief one time at a game. I stuck my head into something.
Yeah.
To say Donnie, and he was like, "Oh no, I don't want to come on." So, and I'm like, "You already told me that."
Yeah.
So that's why I don't ask you.
Let me tell you, there's coaches love to play mind games. Buck Sewer is the best at playing mind games.
Oh, I guarantee you.
That's all he was doing there, and he was doing it in great fun. Yeah,
I know. He's a great guy. Great guy.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Appreciate it, man.
Buddy.
All right.
John Herrick, part of the IU broadcast team that you hear each and every game as they have been traveling a lot. Basketball games doubling up. Got another one tomorrow. John, you got to go back for the ball game tomorrow?
Sure do.
Man, my man John's going to be back in Bloomington, Indiana, playing undefeated Nebraska tomorrow in basketball. Unfortunately, most of us are going to miss that, Coach. But, yeah, they had a game at Maryland the night before we got here, or the night I got here. They were at Maryland doing the game. So it's been quite the schedule, quite the busy schedule for the broadcast team.
Yeah, Fish is probably going to need a week off, but he won't be able to take it until about the 1st of April or maybe the end of April. I bet his travel miles.
He's not around me right now, so I can tell him he only works half a year. He's good.
Well, he's earning it this year because if he's got to be back for the game on Saturday, I mean, they're going to have to leave right after the game, and maybe they got a plane flight to catch and nobody knows about because they don't want to say too much to the other guys that would want to tag along on that journey back.
Oh, don't worry. That definitely sad and real. They're good, and that's exactly what happened. But man, everybody, all eyes looking, and this is it. This is last. You can't call it the last non-championship game, and all eyes watching college are going to be this team. For what? Because Indiana is the in and of itself, But this matchup is intriguing, compelling. Got the to use the word revenge. It's about moving forward. I don't even care if they play earlier in the season. To be honest with you, I don't think that makes you want to win this game any more than had they not played or had they won. This game gets you to the national championship, man. All that matters, and throw that stuff out the window. Having the only about that would be, with the scouting you have. Everything is going to change. These teams are better. The individuals are better. The coaches are better. Fernando's better. Dante Moore's better. Lanning is probably better. Kurt Signitti is better. Everything's on. He gets back. He's going this game pretty damn compelling. I've
had a lot of questions about, does the first meeting between these two teams mean anything in this ball game? And the answer to that is no. Number one, it was 9 weeks ago. These teams have evolved. Now, their basic fundamentals of what they do on offense and defense, just like Indiana, hasn't really changed. The way they do them probably has, with the different wrinkles they add in. But too much has evolved since that game back in October to this point right now. And I know in coaches speak, they'll say it's hard to beat a great team twice. And well, that may be true.
Great once.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I mean, you could ask Oregon that question and they'll tell you, yeah, it's hard to beat a great team. It just, I think Signetti alluded to it yesterday in that presser we had earlier, that, yeah, they go back and look at what they did good and what they did bad. And they tried to enhance what they did good and eliminate what they did bad from that first time they played each other. And that's about it, because they won't rely on that game plan that much because the circumstances change and way a defense evolves change. So I'm sure there will be some similarities, but there's going to be a lot of differences, and it's still going to be a game between two really good football teams, and it's going to be a razor thin margin of error again tonight.
Absolutely. The thing, every game is you're at the level. You have to do everything at the high level. The special teams don't get talked about a lot. These are the kinds of special teams tonight. Ole Miss, field goal goes on the eye. I mean, it comes play on. They kick the goal, and that one gone in. So special team, every little thing matters.
Yeah, these are the games where special teams will creep into the equation and can ultimately be the deciding factor on if a team wins or loses. It's important that you don't give up, the big chunk plays in your special teams. And Indiana's done a great job all year of using special teams to essentially win the field position battle. They have forced a lot of teams to have to drive the entire length of the field, while their offense, Indiana's offense, has always had a starting position that has been around the 35 to 40-yard line in the majority of their games. And that's the differential of getting the field position to put points on the board. And they've done a great job all year with that. And tonight, it shouldn't be any different. It's one of those games, like you said, that ultimately special teams could have an impact on who wins or loses. As you saw last night, like you said, the missed field goal where he hit the upright, that could have changed that game. I think you muted there, Jim.
How's that?
There you go.
Yeah, I think that it made a huge difference because if that kick is good, then they were able to kick a field goal at the end of the game. They got down all the way down the field, but they were forced to have to try and score a touchdown because they were down 4. Hell, they would have been down. They could have won the game. Not only tied it, they would have taken the lead with just a field goal. So, yeah, boy, the doink, as John Madden used to say, doink off the left upright, and gosh, cost him going to the national championship.
Yeah, and then that was a kicker that was pretty reliable from that distance. He has a strong leg. I think he kicked in the game against Georgia. I think he had like a 56-yarder, and it could have been good from 65. So yeah, those are the things. Missed kicks, PAT. We think it's so an easy thing after the touchdown is go out and kick an extra point. Well, there's teams that have gone out and had problems, and it's been the result of poor execution, and it ends up costing the game because they missed an extra point. Turnovers, another one in the kicking game that can be also critical in that respect. So it's one of those things that I guarantee you both these coaches are fully in tune with what special teams can give you in a game like this, because it could be the deciding hand in a positive way as well. And one thing Indiana will definitely have to be aware of tonight is Oregon maybe faking a punt or doing something in a field goal situation, because Dan Lanning has done that. He has been willing to run fake punts, field goals, you name it. So they're going to have to be totally aware.
Probably have to do something to shake it up, because they've watched other teams not be successful. They're going to have to do something different, something to catch Indiana on their heels or put them on their heels. And that's a perfect, great catch, great suggestion. And keep an eye out for that, people, because I think you will see something exactly like that.
Yeah, and they are known to do that, and they did it against Texas Tech. I think they did it for like a 2-point conversion on their first score, where they got in a really odd formation and ran a sprint out pass that was no good, but it's on tape. That's the thing. So you got to be aware of it and be and understand the situation, because that's a way of stealing that extra possession that coaches talk about. And again, extra possessions could be devastating for the team that it goes against, because it gives the other team another chance to put points on the board.
Yes, it certainly does. And points are probably going to be a little bit more at a premium tonight than they were in the Rose Bowl. I think that Oregon's defense is actually better than what we saw with Alabama. Alabama couldn't do anything with the Indiana's offense. They could not stop the run game, which when you cannot stop the run game and you have a passing game as prolific as the Hoosiers do, you're in trouble. And that's the book order for the Oregon Ducks. If they can't stop Indiana's run game and get Fernando, I don't know what their option is, because we've seen this over and over with K'Von Black and Roman Hemby. Those guys are loose on the Palouse, maybe in trouble already, because now you've got to start looking at that, focusing on that. And if you're going to go one-on-one, you're going to get picked apart, whether it's Elijah Scott, whether it's Parker Jr., whether it's Becker or EJ Williams or Norakowski. There's just a multitude of weapons for Fernando to find out.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think that Coach Shanahan has done a great job. He's been able to call the game to the strength of what's in front of them. And what I mean by that, if their strength is running the football with success, they're going to keep doing it, because that's what they did the first time against Oregon, and they did it against Alabama. If they go against a team that's going to try to take the run completely away from them, and they're going to challenge you up on the outside, then he's confident in the guys that he has on the outside to get Fernando in a position to throw the football and do it effectively, and knowing those guys on the outside are going to win. I still don't know how you defend Indiana. because I think everybody's tried, and each team that has tried something, whether it's, play straight up man and outnumber them in the box, have gotten beat, as well as the teams that have tried to play a basic defense and coverage behind it, and they've gotten beat because Indiana has been able to run the football.
Okay, your thoughts. What do you think happens tonight? What do you see happening in result?
Well, I do think Indiana keeps on rolling. I think this is a team that has proven that they're, in some respects, a team of destiny. I hate to say it that way, but I just feel like that's kind of the trajectory of this team. I do think it's a close game. I do think this is a game that you could see the 25-21, 25-20 type of ball game. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a shootout. But I do think it'll be a tough, tight ball game, and it probably have to be a game that Indiana wins in the fourth quarter.
I agree. I thought that this game was going to still be like a 10-point game ultimately, but the more I think about it, and after watching that game last night, all these players, teams are putting things on the line. They're going to give their all, and I think that in and of itself, and Dan Lanning's a great coach as well. I think Indiana wins, don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be a little tighter than I initially thought it was going to be. Not that I didn't think it was going to be a good game. I was never thinking Alabama, but I wasn't thinking that for Alabama. But, yeah, I think that ultimately Indiana is just too good of a team on both sides of the ball. They're too balanced. I think their defense is just a little bit better than Oregon's. I think Indiana has the best defense in the country, and their offense is as good as anybody's. I think it is better than Oregon's right now, especially because they've been hit a little bit in the run game already. In Indiana, they're hitting at optimum levels right now. 2,000-yard rushers. Kaelon Black about 12 yards shy of that, and with Fernando and crew, I think it's going to be another Indiana win for Indiana Hoosier fans, and they should be able to book their tickets to Miami, baby, for next week.
Well, I think they're going to have a great opportunity to do that tonight, and like I said, razor thin margins of error, and we'll see what all happens, but I do like Indiana's chances.
I do as well, man. I cannot thank everybody enough today. Well, we had some sound issues, but hey, we're plugged directly into the Wi-Fi here, so not much more we could do about that. But appreciate everybody. Appreciate John Herrick from the IU Radio Broadcasting team for stopping by. Coach Griff as well. Most importantly, each and every one of you. Enjoy that game tonight, peeps. I hope we get to do this again from the Miami Gardens next week. We better. The travel's already booked, so we're heading that way. But go out and have yourselves a great day. Enjoy tonight's game. Stick around for glass. Until the next time, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.